Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sana sing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Want to sing?
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It is my greatest fortune and blessing to actually introduce Bal Govind Prabhu. His Grace Bal Govind Prabhu is coming from Pune. He is the vice president of the Pune temple, and he has been one of the founding members of a forum called Lotus Voice, which voice stands for Vedic Oasis for Inspiration, Culture, and Education, which is basically a forum for preaching to the entire youth of the country, for people who are in colleges, top colleges all across India, IITs, NITs, AIMS, all the medical colleges, all the top colleges that you can think of. Devotees from the Pune temple go to different those places and preach to students, because that's the time where they're looking to get new information. This is the first time they're out of their houses and looking for new information. So that's the time, right time actually, to preach to them and breathe them. And I'm one of those also, coming from the same organization. So, and Bal Govind Prabhu was my counselor and my first Shiksha Guru himself. And nothing to clap about for me. And he, before joining Pune temple full time, he did his bachelor's in mechanical engineering from University of Pune, worked in Tata for a couple of years. He was instrumental, I don't know how many would know, but there's a car called Tata Safari. He was instrumental in the design aspect of it. And presently he conducts seminars all across the country, going to MNCs, colleges like I mentioned, and he guides many students and professionals to a scientific understanding and application of Vedic concepts in their lives. And at the temple, he's again, like I mentioned, he's a vice president. He gets involved in teaching, counseling, and management of the temple. And right now, so this program is, as everybody knows, the title is Gita, Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell, in which His Grace would be covering the entire 18 chapters in the span of these 2 days. So today, and we apologize, his flight was it got a little delayed and the airport was changed. That's why, I'm sorry we had to wait. But so it's going to be starting tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the evening again. And any questions, anything, definitely, he's one of the best speakers, Mridanga player, and you can think it's like they say jack of all trades, but he's master of all also. And just like Srila Prabhupada wanted all his, all the members of ISKCON to be master of everything. He's one of the prime examples I know of.
Thank you. I'm sorry for being late. I'm directly coming 7 a.m. I started in Atlanta, and 8 p.m. I'm straight sitting here after 13 hours of my travel. Somehow it got delayed, everything, in due course. We would begin with brief kirtan, and then we'll begin the session for today. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन जमुना तीरावनचारे जमुना तीरावनचारे जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन जमुना तीरावनचारे Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. Kimakurvata Sanjaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we welcome everyone for today's rapid overview of Sri Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, the song of God, although spoken 5,000 years ago, stands to be the masterpiece for accurate paradigms, principles, and practices for entire mankind for all time to come. This literature, scripture, is actually the basis of many of world's wisest philosophers, thinkers, politicians, scientists, and social reformers, using as the very basis of their life. It has inspired countless number of people in bringing across tremendous revolution in personal lives and great empowerment for their service contribution to society. So just now, with whatever limited amount of time that we have, an hour, we would like to begin our study of this great literature. First, we would like to study why should we study Bhagavad Gita. In first place, no sounds in the classes, and if you make any movements, I will ask you to sit behind, not in front. So, Bhagavad Gita, why should we study? We could define purposes of our life in various ways. Generally, if you ask any layman, what's the purpose of your life? They will say, don't disturb me, I'm too busy rather than thinking about such things, I have too many other things to do in life. So usually the answers could be, I want happiness, I want success, and of all, I want love. Everything that people may talk about can be summarized in these three directions. How about getting a manual that gives you the perfect, so to say, recipe for these three in life? How about categorizing this in a three-dimensional form of three kinds of goals in our life? First goal being self-development. Second goal being trustworthy relationships. I was about to use the word loving relationships, but in this world, loving comes much later. First, we have to have trust. I hope till the end, you are able to see what I'm writing. If it is difficult, I would shift this board here. And finally, we want to make a meaningful service contribution to people around us. Oh, that's being projected there. I'll come back again. If you want to be truly happy, happiness is not outside of us. If we do perfect self-development, we will start experiencing inner joy in our life in spite of all circumstances around us. Whether people, situations cooperate with us or not, immaterial of that, we will always experience happiness. As far as love is concerned, it requires two people. There has to be reciprocation. And that's why we have to learn the principles that govern relationships and live by them. Only that will bring about fulfillment of our desire to love and be loved in return. And finally, success is a product of rendering selfless yet meaningful service to people around. When we do that, we become glorious. All of us have a secret desire in our life. We all want to be a glorious person. You agree? Why we call secret? Because after we become devotees, we are told, you should not, But nevertheless, we all have a secret desire to want to be a glorious person. How many of you agree? Okay, I think I'm on right track. Is this desire bad? Where does it come from? It comes from Krishna. He has originally this desire. He is the most glorious person. And we share in minuscule quantity that same desire. But in order to become glorious, we need to know what is the path. The path is this. So if we do proper self-development, if we cultivate proper loving relationships, not just with our own family members, with God, with our Diksha, Shiksha, etc., gurus, with our family, neighbors, relatives, devotee community, non-devotee community. I won't like to call them non-devotees. I would like to call them upcoming devotees who don't know yet that they are devotees. And also with even cats and dogs and cows and ants. With ecology, we need to cultivate a certain type of relationship. And finally, we need to render meaningful service. How to do these three things is a science as well as an art. Science because it follows certain laws, and art because it involves a certain aesthetic, emotional aspect of judgment. It's not just blind following of laws. And this art and science of these is precisely given in Bhagavad Gita. In short, if we study Bhagavad Gita, what we will get in our life is healthy body, stress-free mind, sharp intelligence with which to make right choices in life, moment to moment. And finally, jolly soul. If you study Bhagavad Gita, what do you get? Healthy body, stress-free mind, sharp intelligence, and jolly soul. Quite a holistic program. So if somebody you come across and they ask you, what do you, this ISKCON people, what do they do exactly? So we can tell them, individually this is our goal, to offer people healthy body, stress-free mind, sharp intelligence, jolly soul. And collectively we offer three things: education, culture, and devotion to God. That's our social contribution that we are making. We are exceptional in offering quality education. Our culture is unbeatable. There is no culture like Krishna culture in the world. Take any aspect of it: food, music, dance, drama, our attires, our deities, our worship, our anything. We are cultural engineers. And finally, we have devotion to God. That's our offering to the society. We engage anybody and everybody in loving service to God. So that's what ISKCON stands for. And now we are currently celebrating the 50th anniversary of ISKCON. ISKCON, iske jaisa kaun. In Hindi they say. Unbeatable. So therefore, having this in the background, we really need to get a hang of what we are here for in terms of its very, very basic tenets. And those tenets are given in Sri Bhagavad Gita. I would like to give a brief background about Sanskrit as a language. Then I will come back into the poetry in Sanskrit, how to look at it. And then we will come to Bhagavad Gita as a masterpiece of such a poetry. How many of you know Sanskrit in terms of the alphabets? A, A, I, E. Okay. How many of you know their arrangement, the way it is done in the periodic table of alphabets? Okay. So we know the way we produce sound. There are gutturals. You produce sound in the throat. All of you say along. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. So where did you produce your sound? In the throat. Now your tongue will start hitting the palate from below. Cha, cha, ja, jha, ya. So air moved from here to the palate while making sound. Then ta, tha, da, dha, na. So your tongue was hitting your teeth from behind. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. And now tongue will go in between the teeth. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Wonderful. And now no more tongue, no more teeth, only lips. Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So what happened is your tongue gradually unfolded and the air sequentially makes sounds at a point, node in your mouth, coming in a logical sequence. This is called language. This is how you are supposed to actually have a language. Not like A and then B, then C, then D. Got nothing to do with each other. And then PUT is put and BUT is why? Anyways, so the point is Sanskrit is a language to be dealt with. Samskrita means perfectly composed. Samyak rupena kritaha. And then from there we come now to poetry in Sanskrit. This is just a brief background of what's the language of this book. Coming to the poetry, take any shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Oh, none of you have got Bhagavad Gitas in hand. Tomorrow, can you please bring Bhagavad Gitas when you come? I hope you all have your iPhones and you always have it. But book is book. Huh? It makes some sense, deeper sense of connection. So please try and bring tomorrow, if not today. So poetry in Sanskrit follows perfect laws and meters. Have you seen any verse of Bhagavad Gita? It always has got 8 letters in each line, and thus 32 letters in one shloka. Take the first verse which we recited. Dharma kshetre kuru kshetre. 8. Samaveta yuyutsavaha. 8. Mamaka pandavaschaiva. 8. Kima kurvata sanjaya. 8. 32 letters. Entire Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses, consists of this kind of composition. And mind you, this is a spontaneous conversation between two warriors on the battlefield. This is not somebody scratching their brain. All of us have experienced a little bit with writing poetries. You have tried? Have you ever tried being a poet? How much we struggle to get a word together and something, put somewhere. Whether it makes meaning or not, first it has to rhyme. And we get fed up sometimes trying to do that endeavor. So here are two warriors. They are not literary personalities. On the battlefield where war is about to break, talking to each other poetry. What does that mean in terms of its cultural implications? What kind of culture these two people should be belonging to? That culture empowers them such abilities. Some people say all these Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all mythology. We can tell them, mythology? You rascal, you compose mythology of this caliber and show me first. That rascal is Prabhupada's gift. So we generally get upset with people because they blaspheme Vedas. This is called some caliber. One time, one reporter came in New York and he told Swamiji, how many followers do you have? And in those days, ISKCON had hardly 600 followers. Prabhupada said 600. No, Prabhupada turned around to devotees and asked, how many devotees do we have? They said 600. So we have 600 followers. Swamiji, why is it that there's such a huge population in the world and your organization has got only 600 followers? Jai Shri Ram. And Prabhupada said, if you go to diamond shop, how many customers do you find there? And the person had no answer. If you go to Sabji market, you may find a lot, crowd. You go to diamond market, to purchase potato, you don't need much purchasing capacity. But to get a diamond, you need so much. Similarly, number is not a criteria for judging whether the item is valuable or not. And in the same manner, although in modern times Vedic culture appears to be not being so well followed, does not make it in terms of value any lesser. So all of us are very fortunate that we have got this access to these kind of literatures right in the very beginning of our spiritual journey. Whenever we have begun it, old age or young age doesn't matter. At least we have come in the place. Even if we are failing in our spiritual life, we are at least failing in the right place, amidst right people, doing the right thing. Earlier we were failing, God knows where. So let's be happy about it. So in this way, this poetry of Bhagavad Gita is exceptional. Some people ask the question, why Bhagavad Gita is being spoken on the battlefield? Any guess? Yes? Okay, it's a question of life and death. Huh? This philosophy is not just some... Yes? Who are those people who are assembled there? They are the kings of the whole world, right? All the Kshatriyas, political rulers of whole planet Earth are in one place. So, to them it is being given. Any other reason? Why is Bhagavad Gita spoken on a battlefield? Why not in some classroom setting? Yes. Okay, wonderful. Inside and outside, we are constantly undergoing struggle for existence. Internally, we are struggling with our mind and senses. And externally, we are struggling with the degrading flow of material energy. And it's a moment-to-moment struggle. If we want to overcome, or rather become victorious in this battle of life, we need some guidebook, some very, very precise input in our life. Another reason why it is being spoken on the battlefield is because if Arjuna could find time to study Bhagavad Gita in the middle of a battlefield, what urgent business is stopping us from studying it? So nobody can say, I'm so busy that I have no time for studying. So therefore, it is humble request to all of you that please make this book a daily object of your contemplation and application in life. How to do that? Every night before sleeping, nowadays I have stopped telling people, do it in the early morning hours. Recently as a teacher, I learned one amazing realization. Give instructions that meet zero resistance. That applies to parenting also. If you are a parent. So anyways, every night, say you sleep at 10 o'clock, I hope so. 9:30 to 10, half an hour. 10 minutes you study Bhagavad Gita. Not long. 2 verses, 3 verses. 10 minutes, you either chant one extra round of Hare Krishna, or you recite some Vaishnava song, or with your family members you do Shayan Kirtan. 10 minutes, not too long. Very, very prayerfully. Every night you do that. And then 10 minutes, you write down and plan your next day. Can I request you to rub this off? Thank you. Plan in writing your next day before you sleep. So there are 5 major duties that we have in our life that need to be planned. Excellent. You clean immaculately. Thank you. We have first one, self-care. This self-care includes taking care of our timely food, sleep, exercise, health and hygiene. It also includes taking care of our emotional well-being and ongoing skill building, learning in our life. Jaan hai to jahan hai. Huh? If we are fit and fine, everything else can work wonderfully. So first is be selfish. Take care of yourself, so that you can do further things. Because self-development was the base of that triangle, right? From there comes loving relationships and service contribution. The second item is your spiritual practices. Spiritual practices are innumerable. There are 64 of them which are most prominent. But of them, this A, B, C, D, D, association of devotees, studying of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, chanting Hare Krishna, deity worship, and dhamavas, making our homes into abodes of the Lord, or at least having a regular touch with a place that enhances our spiritual culture. So these are core spiritual practices. We should never let them go in our life. The third thing to be taken care of is our family. Taking care of family in essence means meeting the needs and values of our different family members. So we should have a proper vision for each member of our family and try and render quality service to them. Fourth aspect of our life is our occupation. So somebody is a student, somebody is a software engineer, somebody is a businessman. So we have our occupation. So we should clearly know our job description and try to fulfill it, becoming accessible and accountable to our superiors. And finally, social contribution. We are all designed for service. We are not designed for enjoyment. Unfortunately, we spend our entire life working on a wrong platform. As soon as we wake up in the morning, we start scanning the material world. Every object, every person, every situation. How can I enjoy? How can I enjoy? That is what our consciousness is thinking of. Becoming a devotee of Krishna, especially through chanting Hare Krishna, means that we look at every object, person and situation and ask only one question: how can I serve? How can I engage this in service of God? And fulfilling them, we will experience innate joy in our life because we are designed for service. Can you see the sequence in it? If your self is well, can you do your sadhana properly? If your sadhana and your connection with spiritual energy is powerful, then you get the needed wisdom, strength to deal with the rest of the issues in life. And family comes before occupation, not after it. And after having done these things, if time permits, energies are still available, we render some service contribution. So this is like a template with which we can work in our life. Bhagavad Gita will offer us great insights into how to take proper self-care, how to practice spiritual culture, how to raise a family, how to work in a detached spirit, becoming a true karma yogi, nishkama karma yogi, and how to render service. And this is why the scripture is of vital importance in our life. So I would pause there because I said too many things. I would like to ask you if there are any questions.
Many a times we've seen that in this line items, social contribution goes up beyond family and sometimes beyond occupation. How do you deal with that?
So now you learn the sequence. You have to readjust. All these how-to questions, there is only one answer. Just do it.
Just
Earlier we were in ignorance, so we didn't know how to do things nicely. Now we got enlightenment. Just do it. There are no ifs and buts. Because our mind is very tricky. It can just make mole into mountain or very, very whimsical applications it can figure out of Krishna consciousness. So we have to be careful. Any other?
Is there any guidance on, in terms of the amount of time that can be spent on each of those categories that we described?
I think you all come from very engineering kind of background. That's why you are asking these kind of questions. I have no exact clue of it, but I can tell you something from my experience. Usually we require about 9 hours on self-care per day. 6 hours rest, maybe 7 hours rest, 1 hour for bathing, eating, cleaning and all that. 1 hour miscellaneous things. And for spiritual practices, I will give you something very practical about this, but I was planning to give it tomorrow. But anyways, now the question has come, so I will tell you. In the morning, please reserve 2.5 hours for your sadhana. And in the night, reserve half an hour for your sadhana. I told you, the half an hour in the night. Now what to do with this one, I will tell you. To chant 16 good rounds, we require somewhere around 1 hour 50 minutes. Sometimes 2 hours. But 1 hour 50 minutes, 7 minutes per round. It's possible. If you start singing Samsar Davanala, Narsimharti, Tulsi Puja, Shikshashtakam, Guru Puja and Jai Radha Madhava in sequence with no lead, no follow, just once. Every line, just once, but you have to be very attentive. Then the entire morning program gets over in 20 minutes. Try it tomorrow. So, and while doing it, you can also continue doing those activities of Arati or Tulsi Parikrama or bowing down or, Jayom Vishnupad, the Jayadhvani. 20 minutes, full morning program over. No, you don't miss out anything. What takes in the temple usually 1 hour gets over in 20 minutes. And then another 20 minutes, you can play a nice lecture of Srila Prabhupada or your spiritual master. That becomes your Bhagavatam class. Just 20 minutes. We are not telling. I told you, give instructions that meet zero resistance. That's what is doable for somebody. So this, if you follow, you, without being part of a temple community, still have a full temple morning program going at your place on a daily basis. And mind you, this morning program is given by Srila Prabhupada to all of us, irrespective of our ashram status. Sometimes people tend to think those monks, poor guys, stay in temple, they have to get up and do all this morning program. Although Grihastha life allows a degree of privacy and independence, That is to be used for doing good to ourselves. So, try this. 1 hour 50 minutes chanting 16 rounds, 20-minute full morning program, 20 minutes a Bhagavatam class. Maybe during that Bhagavatam class you can iron your clothes or do some non-tension giving activities, which are mechanical routine work, if possible. Or maybe take your bath and that kind of. That's a concession. Best you don't do that, but in the beginning if you find it difficult, then this is where you can do it. And in the night, 10 minutes study Bhagavad Gita, 10 minutes recite Vaishnava songs or have a Shayan Kirtan, and 10 minutes write down your plan for each of these items for next day, and then sleep. And your mind, subconscious mind, will process it very nicely in the night. In fact, having really lived with great struggle a spiritual day, Krishna will actually empower you to perform very well the next day as well. Like Arjuna in the battlefield. He was helped by Krishna at every moment to win over that war. Of course, Arjuna had to fight the battle, but he was substantially helped by Krishna. It is only because of Krishna's intervention that he could actually win. And that experience you will have in your life if you follow this in general routine. So what I'm talking out now are like some practical applications of Bhagavad Gita, which I was supposed to cover tomorrow, but because the question came. And then usually morning for Krishna, daytime for occupation, and evening for family. Family as in the blood relatives, and family as in Vaishnava family also. This is also family. So in either way, we should spend time. And this we should do, as I said, weekly at least 4 hours of service. To the devotee community or even the upcoming devotee community, not non-devotee. We should render some service to them. Book distribution, Harinam, outreach activities, preaching, counseling, or at least assisting those who are preaching and counseling. So that's how we can do it. Any other question? Yes. Take the mic, please.
I think the excellent presentation, personally, I believe, and for everybody to really benefit from all this. I just got here, but the very first item where you have allocated something like 9 hours.
For self-care.
Yeah. Could you just elaborate
Yeah,
more?
I had told the items under self-care: proper sleep, diet, exercise. This itself will take 8 hours.
Right.
And then health and hygiene, skill building, ongoing constant learning for oneself. So there are many items under self-care. Emotionally being stable, and also especially getting some counsel from superiors on a monthly basis at least.
But I think the latest philosophy or latest developments in the field of science and so on, they highly recommend that you have to sleep 7 to 8 hours.
True. I don't disagree with that.
Because the lack of sleep
You can add
normally
to this
is
as many
associated
number of
with many,
hours as you
many
like.
problems and
Yes.
diseases and
Yes.
ailments,
I
and
agree with
also,
you.
continues on to many, many other
True.
issues, Alzheimer's disease.
So
and all of
I already said it that I am not having a accurate formula for this. First of all, this is not ISKCON law. These are just plain generalizations.
Right.
Over the years of my teaching, counseling,
Right.
Some basic generalization. Honestly speaking, if you really become a spiritualist, a lot of other things like eating, sleeping, etc. become far more regulated. And even 6 hours of sleep is enough for such a person. Srila Prabhupada writes in one of the purports in Bhagavad Gita, Yukta hara viharasya, Yukta cheshtasya karmasu, in that shloka, that sleeping more than 6 hours is a symptom of ignorance. tamoguna. But that's for advanced spiritualists. But it is possible to come to that stage. That's what I'm saying. Because medical science in modern day has no spiritual goal.
Right.
They have only material goal for themselves, to live a healthy life of sense gratification. That's not our goal.
Yeah. But I think that in terms of, as you're saying, 6 hours, but it has to be a continuous.
Correct.
Though no
Uninterrupted
Absolutely.
deep sleep.
That's
True.
not a good sleep.
Yes.
So that's why.
Anyways, personally you decide how much sleep you need. I have no problem with that. I am not here coming, making your life miserable. I am simply, I'm pointing to the lighthouse and showing some of the guiding principles. You adopt it to your situation. I have no issues. You may or may not even follow all that I said. You may make your own personal contemplation and application that suits you. But you may get some clues.
But excuse me, but I think it's mandatory that what you have laid out, all these, simple rules are really a key to the development, not only for the brain and also for your faculties of the brain, at the same time day-to-day activities, that you will really do it so well that if you follow all the regimen,
Yes.
So
we should follow this regimen.
Absolutely.
Because we will come to that verse, fifth chapter, last verse. Prabhupada mentions that Krishna consciousness in the beginning must be followed as if in military discipline. So, as you use the right word, regimen. So it's good to follow this. Any other? Okay, then we go ahead. So Bhagavad Gita, would you please help me again? Thank you. So we did a lot of things till now. We began with why study Bhagavad Gita and why the setting of Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield and the composition of Bhagavad Gita. It's not mythology. And then we discussed about the practicalities of Bhagavad Gita in terms of getting right paradigms and principles to work upon in our life. Now, we will actually get into Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters, as we all know. And most of you who have done Bhakti Shastri, etc. courses are well aware that these 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita and 700 verses therein are divided into 3 distinct patterns. The karma section, the jnana section, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to write in English. Jnana. And in the bhakti section. The first 6 chapters, 1 to 6. The last 6 chapters, 13 to 18. And the middle 6 chapters, 7 to 12. This is a broad categorization. In the karma section, Bhagavad Gita begins with chapter 1. What is chapter 1? Chapter 1 is nothing but problem definition. In any thesis, like in PhD, or even for that matter in any educational or social problem, the first step is to clearly define the problem. Problem exactly hai kya? Because if you don't know the clarity, then you are sometimes solving something which is not a problem, or which is nearby the problem, or which is another's problem, which they are supposed to solve. So this is very, very important that we have a clear understanding of what is the problem. What was the problem of Arjuna in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita? We all broadly know that he was supposed to fight and he didn't want to fight. And then he gave those 5 arguments why he doesn't want to fight. But that doesn't make the problem definition clear. It was not just Arjuna's problem that is being addressed through this Bhagavad Gita. It is all of our common problem that is being addressed. And that problem is technically called as Dehatma Buddhi. Dehatma Buddhi means our tendency to identify ourselves with material body and its extensions, rather than identifying ourselves as spiritual energy belonging to spiritual world, belonging to God. This tendency is called Dehatma Buddhi. Deha ko Atma manne ki buddhi. To think that this body is me and its extensions are mine. This is the root cause of all problems. Can you name a few problems in the world today? Terrorism. Any other? Global warming. Any other? Huh? Poverty. Sectarianism or racism. Huh? Getting so many diseases in the body because of not following the laws of nature. Overly indulging in the body. That causes diseases in the body. Any other? Can you trace back the roots of all of these problems into only one problem? Yeah, they are all man-created problem, I know. But I am saying the root of that is Dehatma Buddhi. Every one of us, for example, racism. What is racism? The Africans are thinking they are African, Americans are thinking American, Indians are thinking. And in this way, there is a problem of racism. Or take for that matter, terrorism. Sometimes in the name of even the religion, people sometimes tend to think that I belong to this and you belong to that. They are not acting on a spiritual platform where we are qualitatively one with each other. Or say poverty. Poverty is a result of greed of few people at the expense of others' necessities. So few people want luxuries by depriving others of their necessities. Where does that come from? Because they want to give gratification to their own bodies more than what they should. So the point I'm making is, when Srila Prabhupada said that there is no problem in this material world, there is only one problem, and that is lack of Krishna consciousness. So what is the problem definition? Dehatma Buddhi. And what is the solution? Krishna consciousness. That is the solution. And this is the gist of Bhagavad Gita. This is all that it is. So Arjuna was confused. He got bewildered, thinking, I have some, they call self-created duties. And then he wanted to fulfill them. He wanted to win the Nobel Prize for peace by acting non-violently. And Krishna said, this is nonsense. It's a foolish idea. You are thinking you will run away from the battlefield and Duryodhana let him rule, no problem. And Arjuna actually gave 5 arguments, right? The first argument Arjuna gave was, I think, can remember this acronym, CSEDI. So C stands for compassion on bodily platform. Arjuna wanted to show compassion to the bodies of those soldiers. How can I kill them? S stands for fear of sinful reactions. No? Fear of sinful reactions. He felt that if I fight this war and then there will be sin. And papam eva shraye dasman. Hatvaitana tatayinaha. And then E for what will happen to my enjoyment in future? If all these people are dead and gone, generally in material life, in order for you to enjoy, you need to make somebody else envious. Otherwise, there is no enjoyment. And at least you need some, feeling that there are people who are watching me enjoying, then there is some meaning in my enjoyment. So even if I get a kingdom and everybody is dead, what am I going to enjoy? So, what will happen to my future enjoyment? And then D is destruction of family traditions. Kulakshaya. That's another argument Arjuna gives. And then finally, this argument I comes in the second chapter. This come in the first chapter. Indecision. I am just not able to decide. So rather than making a mistake on a violent side, I would rather make a mistake on the non-violent side. That's the argument. Now, think carefully. All of us, even after coming to Krishna consciousness, keep postponing our surrender to Krishna. And we give 5 reasons why we do it. First reason we give is compassion on bodily platform. सुबह जल्दी नहीं उठ सकता, इतनी ठंड है, it's so cold, how can you get up and chant, your 16 rounds? That's being very uncompassionate to the body. Is it not? We all have experience. So let us postpone our surrender to another day. Someday we will do it. Anyways, Krishna is giving multiple lifetimes to do it, so not such a big hurry. Then the second one, fear of sinful reactions. If I take to Krishna consciousness very dedicatedly, and if I sometimes tend to neglect some other duties to family members or some relatives and friends. One time, one person in our Pune, he asked Jayadvait Maharaj, Maharaj, what about relatives? They have so many expectations, and then we want to be Krishna conscious and they want us to be materialist. And what to do with them? Jayadvait Maharaj looked at him and said, relatives, they are relative. They are not absolute. So, and that was kind of a new revelation for him. It is not to say that you should not, we already told you, family, in that third item, meeting needs and values of family members. We are not against that. This is not what our teaching is. The point is, where do you put your weight? Where do you lean over when a crucial moment of choice comes in life? So, we sometimes fear sinful reactions, Like we become brahmacharis. People typically ask this question, आपके माता पिता का आगे क्या होगा? What will happen to your father and mother? You have become like this. One person, he met me in the train and he was looking at me up and down. And then I said, what? Swami ji, आपके साथ क्या हादसा हुआ था? So what calamity had happened to you that you became like this? आपको नौकरी नहीं मिली या नौकरी नहीं मिली तो छोकरी नहीं मिली या कुछ तो गड़बड़ हो गया कहीं. And he said, I had no problem. I have very loving father, mother, come from a very good background, and everything is fine in life. He couldn't believe it. Why? Because people generally tend to think like this. So anyways, the point is sinful reactions. So we say, if I become too Krishna conscious, then I will neglect other duties and then I will get sin. Or sometimes we say, I used to earlier worship, this Shani and Sai and so many things, and suddenly now I become Krishna devotee. Those people will become angry and upset with me. Then what? So we postpone our surrender. किसी के साथ पंगा नहीं लेना है. We will do bhakti for everybody. Little bhakti for him, little for him, like that. So, and then comes enjoyment. A typical argument. If I become too Krishna conscious, what will happen to my material enjoyment? What will happen to my pani puris that I used to eat on that, dhaba, and what will happen to my kachi dabeli and pav bhaji, and you're not supposed to eat unoffered food, right? Then what will happen to your enjoyment? So, typical argument, we all give that argument. Yet another argument we gave, destruction of family traditions. Like in our hostel, when I used to do my engineering, there was a very ugly tradition that anybody's birthday comes, you give him birthday bumps. You know birthday bumps? They lift the guy and under his buttock, they give, kicks. And then that guy has to feed these fellows for doing that. And it's a very sacred tradition of hostel. Nobody can break it. Otherwise, you become a outcast. So, after you become Krishna conscious, all this business stops, right? So sometimes people fear that. As a family, we always used to go to those movies, and we always used to go to those, what they call, at night, midnight, 2 o'clock, we used to get that inexplicable urge of eating some paratha, with coffee on that particular dhaba, and we all used to go together. And that was a sacred tradition we were maintaining for years together. Of course, they are very mild traditions. Maybe in America, the traditions are much different. The father and the son drink beer together, and on a birthday or so. There are traditions, that people maintain. And people fear that if I become Krishna conscious, what will happen to these great, sacred traditions that we were maintaining for a long time. And then finally, indecision. This is a common one. Krishna hai ki nahi hai? 50-50. That's a good option for us. We said, are you spirit, soul or not? 50-50. Prabhu, sometimes you have to be practical, Prabhu. You cannot be so fanatic about, certain concepts. Sometimes it works this way, sometimes it works that way. Whichever way it works, we should take it. Otherwise, mind will become the engine will become hot. So we all undergo indecision in our life. And we all have experience with this. How many times we go back and forth in our vows that we take. Tomorrow onwards, I'll chant 16 rounds first thing in the morning. And that morning you don't wake up only. So what kind of indecision is this? So if you really carefully hear the voice of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will smash all these arguments to powder and instill in our heart firm confidence and also ability to follow these instructions. And by that, we will actually become sthita prajna, steadily situated in life, in our consciousness. We will become like Arjuna, nashto mohaha smrutir labdhva tvat prasadat maya chuta sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. And we are all aspiring to become that type of a devotee of the Lord. So, I would like to end there. Tomorrow we'll again churn the topic further. And I am not so sure how much of the 18 chapters can I cover in the time that I have. But I'll make sure that all those key concepts that are needed for application are at least addressed. Any comments or questions?
What is the word meaning of Dehatma Buddhi?
Dehatma Buddhi means to consider the body to be ourselves and the extensions of the body to be belonging to us. The meaning, I and mine, that conception has gone wrong. I am body and bodily extensions are mine. This is called Dehatma Buddhi. Rather than thinking I am Krishna Das, servant of Krishna, and anything and everything connected to Krishna's service is mine, to be used in his service. So that Dehatma Buddhi is the problem and Krishna consciousness is the solution. Yeah. Yes. Take the mic.
Initially, you mentioned like we want to be prosperous, we want to be happy because it's like due to the Krishna consciousness like in us, like which enables us to like think that we should be prosperous. But shouldn't terrorists be thinking the same way? Like he's again like having the same source, so it again has its root.
So, but our thinking, his thinking, why are you equating? I'm not getting.
Like we have a urge to be more prosperous.
So terrorist has his urge to become more prosperous in heaven, in future.
Not heaven or more powerful. I mean, like.
So I'm not getting the question.
The question is like the root seems to be same. So why the terrorism is bad in that sense?
Okay. Why terrorism is bad? First of all, it is not sanctioned by God. Secondly, phalena parichayate. See by effects. By your desiring to become a glorious person in Krishna consciousness, first of all, you are following laws or desire of God, and the effects are always wonderful. But a terrorist desire to do what they like, first of all, it is not sanctioned by God, and it produces evil results, not good results.
The war is terrorism, like the Bhagavad Gita is it's a.
Bhagavad Gita is terrorism? Not at all. That's our misinterpretation of it. I will come to that. But because you raised the point, is Bhagavad Gita instigating violence? Before Bhagavad Gita happened, which means before the war, the warring armies came against each other in front of each other, there is a huge background of that Mahabharata, where any and every effort has been made by the Pandavas and Krishna to avoid that war. If you have studied Mahabharata, you will know what all has gone in the background. They didn't want to, Pandavas were so pious and they were so benevolent that despite all the atrocities of Duryodhana and the gang, they were still considering not to fight with him. They just went and told him, give us just 5 villages because we are Kshatriyas, we need something to rule over. To that extent, they were okay to compromise. So it is not that they are like, terrorist type people wanting to just, for any chance. Not like that. But when all these means failed of establishing peace and harmony and all that, it was God's instruction. Arjuna was thinking, let Duryodhana rule. What is the problem? Krishna said, if a person does not mind bringing a lady in a Rajya Sabha and disrobing her, that to his own sister-in-law, what kind of protection is he going to go and give to the other citizens? So all these Arjuna's argument, Krishna smashes to powder. For this, Krishna tells, you are not the body, you are spirit, soul. So repose your compassion in the right direction. For this, Krishna says, by not fighting, you will get sinful reactions. Because your dharma as a Kshatriya, not everybody is warring in Vedic culture. Only Kshatriyas do warfare. Women, children, old people never go on wars. And war starts at sunrise and ends at sunset. ऐसा कभी war होता है क्या? Cultured war. And there are etiquettes. The senior most man has to shoot the first arrow. Then others begin. Bhishma has to blow conch shell and shoot something. Then everyone follows. Even in war, there are etiquettes and culture. What kind of culture is this? So anyways, that's not the point. The point is, and then Krishna says, Hatva va prapsase swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim. Even if you get killed, you will enjoy heaven. And if you don't get killed and you win the war, then you enjoy earthly kingdom. So that enjoyment argument is also sorted out. And then destruction of family traditions, I just now told the argument. Duryodhana is horrible in terms of maintaining such things. Kulakshaya, he will surely do it. And then indecision, Krishna said, just follow what I tell you to. You will never have indecision in your life about what is the right course of action. As they say in our 7-Up advertisement, yahi hai right choice, baby. So Krishna has that dadami buddhi yogam tam. If you really become sincere, Krishna from within gives us instructions. Of course, from outside he gives through scriptures, through spiritual master, through others. So like that, in that way, the indecision can be overcome in our life. One last question. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in case if somebody has less time to devote for services, and I mean devotional time overall. So, what is more important in that case, deity worship or hearing and reading books? Of course, chanting.
How much
is
time
must.
do you have?
I'm not myself.
Or whoever that person is you are asking about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In question answers, let's be precise rather than just.
Chanting 16 rounds and
15 minutes more.
yeah, say half an hour more.
Half an hour more. Okay. Good enough. So you have time for 16 good rounds and you have half an hour extra. And that half an hour you have to decide now whether you want to do deity worship or reading, hearing, or what? Devotional service in the temple. So what? Okay. Why don't you alternate? One day you do deity worship, another day you do quality reading, hearing, another day you do deity worship. Life is not an OR gate, it's an AND gate.
But we say that deities, if somebody start worshipping deities, then deities wait for the next day also. Like somebody is doing aarti one day and not other
One
day.
of the items of deity worship is swadhyaya. That is also deity worship.
What is
There
that?
is upadana, swadhyaya, ijya. There are 5 items which are not corollary, integral part of deity worship. Upadana means gathering articles for worshipping the deity. Like you go to the mall, you purchase grains, cotton, this, that. You are doing deity worship. Of course, we are not conscious like that, but it's actually part of it. And then there is this swadhyaya, studying scriptures, reciting Bhagavatam. Because in order to love someone, we also need to know that person a little bit. How do you love someone whom you don't know anything about? And that's what Prabhupada used to say in Christianity. They say God does exist, we should love God. But the knowledge of God, His qualities, His pastimes, His personality, our reciprocations with Him is so limited. So you can alternate. Thank you. So we end there. I know it's already late and you all came from far off distances. So tomorrow we'll again continue in the evening and I will come here at 7 p.m. sharp. I'm sorry for today being late. So please come. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Let's thank His Grace Bhagavan Prabhu by chanting 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! It's such a blessing for all of us that Prabhuji has agreed to come and share with us his many, many years of not just studying the Shastras, but applying the Shastras in real life and sharing with others and going deeper. So that knowledge is very useful to all of us. I'm sure you all appreciated. So let's try to come here. Tomorrow, Prabhuji missed his flight today, and then flight ended up in Logadia instead of EWR. And many of us got a little bit delayed. But tomorrow, if we can start on time, then we can cover more. And I was feeling sitting here that we need kind of many days. Unfortunately, this time we might not get many days, but I'm sure with your love and heartfelt gratitude, Prabhuji will come back very soon. Now he has visa and will continue more and more. Thank you so much for coming in this supremely cold weather. I'm sure you all are also very empowered. That Krishna has somehow dragged you from work coming this early with family life. It's not easy. We have prasadam, Ekadasi prasadam in our community hall. Please take. And you can also stay and ask something personal if you like. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yeah, tomorrow morning also, his guest Balgavin Prabhu will give Bhagavatam class. So those of us who can come, at what time we start? 8 o'clock. If you can get some time from work or if you're working from home, please stop by and hear the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you.